report yet? No, the night is young. Department head, Sean, come on down, have the building inspector.
Did you start your camera? Did you start?
Yes, I think, did I start it?
No, I was talking to Nancy, I didn't see her today.
Oh,
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Lincoln.
Okey dokey, we're all running.
Thank you.
Tom,
Sir,
we have a couple of things we'd like to talk to you about. The first is the junkyard license, where we stand with that. As I recall, Mr. Castellano doesn't have one for the current year.
he does not.
And I haven't noticed him bring in an application for the coming year, so.
No, I think it was basically my interpretation, because when he went to the zoning board, then he ran to the planning board. And I did talk to the civil engineer, civil consultants, and he did go to him, we brought him all this stuff.
Okay.
So it's in the hands of the design professional. And I'm just figuring that once we got that, we would move into the junkyard.
Designs for what, though?
Oh, he has to have a whole site review.
But that's for his, that's just for his towing business,
Well,
right? This is for to operate a
I
junkyard.
thought it was a package deal. because there are a lot of
I don't think
things-
so. Is that how- I don't think that's how we were.
I don't think that's how we're approaching it either,
No.
but
And can we even do that? Because he went to ZBA for towing and the junkyard's grandfathered, so do we have any cause to take him to planning for site
Well,
review?
if you, no, the zoning board granted a variance to have a junkyard. He's had a junkyard.
Well, they granted a variance so he can have a towing company. The junkyard was a pre-existing non-conforming use.
Wasn't the variance part,
Junkyard was not part of ZBA.
Right, and he.
I mean, towing, yeah, junkyard was not part of ZBA. ZBA was just for towing.
And since he's been operating the junkyard, he's been under the obligation to meet
oh,
17 different
he,
requirements.
which
And
he,
there are at least 3 that I've highlighted that I know that he's not meeting.
all right, well, that then is my mistake. I figured we would just wait, but I'll find out.
Well, I mean,
I'll give him a call.
as he's moving along, I mean, so the junkyard's not, number 6, it's not screened
No,
from public view. Part of it is, but it's not completely screened. He's violating number 11, the area is supposed to be, the entrance is
Yeah.
supposed to be covered with gravel.
Yeah.
Pardon me, that's number 14. Number 11, he's got more than 3 vehicles out there that, I don't know if they're for sale or not, but it looks like a used car lot, so I'm assuming they're all for sale. And number 14, the front is not maintained with clean gravel in any way. They've got giant mud ruts. I drove
Oh, yeah.
by it this
Oh.
afternoon, so
no argument.
it
It's
looks bad.
definitely in tough shape.
And we have given him countless opportunities
Oh,
to
no.
comply, right? I mean, you've
Yes.
been over there and told him,
Yes.
you have X amount of time to do
Yes.
it. He claims he's doing it,
I'll,
it never materializes.
yeah, I think that was, I haven't been really pushing him along, thinking, because I know the civil engineer is doing a site plan, which is
Right.
gonna encompass the whole thing, so that's where I'm a little,
So what would you say about our ability to compel a pre-existing non-conforming use to have a site review?
are we sure it was not included as part of the variance?
Yes,
It was only for towing, is my recollection.
yes.
Because he's operating under the grandfather authority of the previous owner.
But didn't we, I mean, at the zoning board, we discussed the junkyard license. That was.
You
But if
may
you-
have,
But if you recall, it was,
Yeah, I know.
it was secondary, they kept redirecting it back to the towing, including public comment, because
Yeah.
it
that
pertained
was-
really just to the variance.
Yes, all right.
So we have the power in a potential ordinance and in these conditions to enforce these and whatever other conditions
Yes.
may be warranted.
So yes, I'll call him up tomorrow morning and take a ride over.
Because these are, I mean, there's 2 separate paths he's
Yeah.
supposed to be traveling down.
Yeah.
There's his towing business that he's
Right.
dealing with through zoning and now planning, right?
Yes.
But he also, before any of that even happened, before we even knew anything about that,
Yep.
it was born out of this, his non-compliance with the
Correct.
17 criteria that we told him he needed to get into compliance with, and we kind of put it on hold to see what he would do with zoning. Well, we've come a full year later, because his license expires on June 30th, and it's the 17th, so.
Yep, yep, no, you're right.
He's
You
been
are-
operating for almost an entire
You
year
are
without any
correct.
license.
Yeah.
And he hasn't shown any kind of effort, as far as we're concerned, to come into compliance with any of these. Now, he may be fine with covering the tires, I don't know, I haven't gone in there, I don't know. But,
Well, I'll tell him I'm gonna do a site inspection sometime this week.
okay,
I'll go over with him and I'll make sure the DES guy is alert, and also if there are best management practices he has to
okay.
go along with.
So would you care to comment on number 18, which, you know,
Immediate remedy.
what can we, which is, what do you do when he's non-compliant?
It's-
Immediate revocation of the license, what does that mean, and at what point can we say that he's not compliant and revoke it?
I think we'd have to go through a formal written process to him, but, I mean, it says what it says. Immediate cessation of all junkyard operations, and he would have to appeal it.
So do you think that his infractions have risen to the level that we could notify him in writing
I
that
don't know,
he's
oh, I think so, yes.
not compliant in those
Yes.
ways?
Yep,
That might be a
I
good
mean,
way to
it's
start.
been a full year,
Oh,
almost a
oh.
full year.
yeah,
A
I'm
couple of
sure,
weeks it'll be a full year,
yeah.
so. And before that, he wasn't compliant. I mean, we've given him the benefit of the doubt, he's always gonna get compliant, and we
Yeah.
say, okay, fine.
And it just, yes.
He never follows through, so, I mean,
You're right.
how many more, it's not, I mean, it's not you, it's us. I mean,
Oh, it's-
we're the ones that have the responsibility to hold him accountable ultimately, and we haven't and passports haven't, so I think it's time that we do.
Yep, you are correct.
So we give him, you go over and take a look at it,
Yeah,
issue him a report, whatever this, a letter that says, you know, you're not compliant with whatever.
yep. I'll do-
These are just ones I can see, I've been in there, I don't know what the rest of it looks like, and say he has X amount of days to become compliant, and if he's not, well, hopefully I won't be here, but, I mean, I'm sorry, I know I won't be here, hopefully, I didn't phrase that right. Hopefully my two colleagues, then,
Yes.
that will be the board at that point, will, hold him accountable,
yes.
because I'm just tired of it.
Well, yeah, I don't blame you.
What is the normal, you have so many days, what is the normal amount of days that they have?
It pretty much depends on the circumstance. I think in this case, because of the scope of it, I mean, I would probably say at least 15. but-
Days, not
days,
months,
but,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah, he's had.
It just
known this-
turned into that, didn't he?
Well,
He's known
no,
this forever, and I think
Yeah.
the other thing is because of, it has been going on for a while, if we said tomorrow, and he appealed it, I'm pretty sure a judge would say, that's
No.
unreasonable, but yeah,
Right.
so I think,
but I don't want 60 or 90 days, he
I
absolutely
think
needs to
personally,
react
I think
immediately.
30 days is a reasonable amount of time to say,
we can do that.
depending on how many, like I said, there's 3 here that I know of.
Yeah,
I have to assume there's probably more than that, and to give him that,
I don't
and if
doubt
he
it.
doesn't
I
need
think,
it,
I was thinking 15 because
15's even better.
towards the end of, that's kind of coincides with the end of this month.
yeah,
when
and
it
his license will expire.
expires.
Yeah, so I would go that route, and then we can reevaluate after, or towards closer to that
Yeah.
date to see how far he's come.
He has
Yeah.
made no effort
And if he
in the
could-
past year to come to us, to
Right.
say he's been working on these. This is, I mean, maybe there's some confusion on his part, maybe there has been on ours, but they're 2 separate paths, and he has to know that.
Yes.
That he's had issues with this list for years,
Well, I.
separate from his towing business that we found out wasn't authorized because of this,
Yeah, yes. Okay.
right? Because we had a number of complaints from neighbors,
Uh-huh.
and then we had our own issues with this list, him being in non-compliance, so we had a public hearing. And that was born, it all was born out of that, right? The
Right.
fact that he had this towing business that, come to find out,
Yeah.
the town never authorized, so.
Right.
Apparently now they have, but, or they're in the process
Well,
of doing
yeah.
so. But, okay.
All right.
And the only other thing we have, you may have stuff for us, but is Rollins Road, it's, is it 112?
Yes, excuse me, I know he's gotten rid of a bunch of stuff, and I did talk to him, this morning, or
Okay.
yesterday. Called and told him I was gonna stop by,
Yeah,
and he does, despite the appearance up front, only 2 of those are unregistered.
okay,
He does have an accumulation of stuff now in front of the garage, which is difficult to see because of,
the bushes,
well, the place
Or
where the
whatever
cars
else?
pretty much, yeah, exactly.
okay,
So I told him that has to go, but he's
okay,
been pretty good. But there are only 2 of them, so we need to make sure that he gets at least one of them registered
all right,
or removed.
all right. I saw that there were vehicles at least that were on the other people's
And
lots,
so,
have been moved back at
Yes.
least, so
Yeah,
that's a
they're gone.
plus, I guess.
yeah.
And the backyard, is it still,
It doesn't look too bad, you know, much better in the spring.
when it's covered, right, in,
Right.
in
Right,
spring blooms, all
yeah.
right.
But he's, I guess, yeah, just, I think of him as a work in progress. He's another one.
We're staying on top of them.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
he's,
fine.
he's been there for, a long time and doing it for a long time. But yeah, he's, I think being fairly cooperative.
Okay. Much so more than he was before.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Okay. Do you have anything else for Tom?
I think there was just one other thing, we wanted to talk about the building permit fees
Oh,
that were.
good call.
Oh, that's
On there somewhere else, or
Oh,
under letter E,
Durham.
yes,
building permit schedule of fees.
right.
I'll see if I can pull up a copy.
I had one.
Yeah.
I like the idea,
I think there's one in the green folder there.
It's a different thing.
Not that
Durham,
one.
is that the
One-
one we had in front of us?
This
Yeah,
folder?
I like that they have folks that don't bother to get a permit, but do work anyway.
Exactly.
There's a higher
We can
fee.
double the fee, yeah, we did that in Dover as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's much easier to do if we had a schedule like
Yeah.
that. And I,
Put on the coffee.
No, I can print it.
I mean, I understand mistakes happen,
Yeah.
you know, especially, there have been roofing companies in this, that come to do work in our town.
Caroline, I'm not sure it's necessary. It says Durham on it, which needless to say, we had to change. So my only purpose of bringing that to your attention is if you guys agreed to it, then I would modify it accordingly. So the final format would come back here anyways.
Oh, to take a look at?
Right.
I mean, in concept, I thought it was a good idea. I mean, it's
Yeah.
very straightforward, people can understand it maybe a little easier than the current structure.
Exactly, and things, we can make it more consistent, because on ours, we have a minimum fee for electrical and plumbing, but not for mechanical, and we can bring stuff
Right.
into line,
Right.
but it's just for the purpose of, showing you the concept, and then I would come back with a final
And
thing.
there should be some flexibility though, too,
Yes.
for the board and for yourself to,
Sure.
because there are times, we dealt with this a number of times over the last several summers, where roofing companies in particular would tell people, oh, Rollinsford doesn't require a permit. Like, well, we do, and so
Yes.
these people think they're complying
Yes.
with the law, because that's what the roofing company told them,
Yeah,
and we send them a letter. So, I mean, if that's the case,
well, I
you
think,
know, it's,
some of that has been addressed with the change
it could be,
on
okay,
our application, because it used to say building permit, and people would,
right,
building
right,
permits for roofing,
right,
but if it says construction, it's more flexible, I think.
okay,
Then we can say certainly
Yeah.
that is included.
right,
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just gonna modify it and,
right,
put it in.
okay.
And I would like to mention that I'm not thinking that we need to increase any fees. So
Right,
it's not
no,
like
it's to make it clearer. I mean, I'm
Yep,
all for
Yeah,
clarity.
no,
I mean,
that's a good
yeah,
idea.
okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
perfect.
there are people that will complain that they don't understand the process, and once we send them a letter, they comply, but I get it.
Sure.
If we can make it easier,
Yeah.
we should do that.
Great.
So, are we okay with that?
Mhm.
Anything else for Tom? I don't think so. There's, one other issue on, what's the name of the road? Oh, do you live on Salmi? Clement Road,
Clement Road.
but we won't get into it today.
You only got a couple more weeks, Mike.
Pick your battles.
I need about $30,000 in legal fees, so.
Oh, that one.
That one
All right.
I'm gonna kick for someone, the can for someone else to
Right.
keep kicking down the
Okay,
road.
that one, yes.
But, just to keep it on your radar, that it is an issue.
Yep,
There's two issues. There's a business that's operating without approval,
yes.
and then there's about half a dozen unauthorized apartments.
Yeah, right, yes.
Some which could be authorized under the new accessory dwelling unit.
Yep,
and could become legal,
Yeah.
but have never been blessed by the town, so they probably should be.
Hmm.
So whoever's on our on the planning board for us should maybe bring that forward. Maybe it can come from the planning board too, a complaint. No? Are you the rep? I can't remember.
I am,
Okay.
I am,
It has to come from us, doesn't it?
I think so.
I think so too.
And you all have to be ready to spend the
It's
legal
gonna be very
fees,
expensive,
you know.
so
yeah,
that's why we've never done it.
yeah.
Well, then we just have the legal fee for next year.
You know, it's a
As
big
we say
church.
every year, and 18 other things pop up, we don't get to it, so. I mean, it also, I mean, there's, you have to keep in mind, you may be displacing families too, so I mean, there's the real threat of that as well,
Mhm.
so that could become another problem, so. Perhaps why we haven't done that.
And yet there are two separate issues, you could tackle one
The
and
business,
The business
the
of
business should,
then pick away at the others, you know.
yeah.
Because eventually, if you keep ignoring it,
Oh,
or you don't know about it, you've got another quasi judicial board like the ZBA that says, well, they've been doing it for so many years.
Yeah.
It would be wrong to take away the person's livelihood, well,
yeah.
anyways. So, thank you, Tom, I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
So,
All right, thanks, folks.
See, listen to me complain, so no need to stay any longer. Appreciate it, thank you.
Anytime. You're welcome.
All righty, what do we have? We have no police, no fire yet. We have highway though, come on up, George.
Can I ask a quick
Of
question
course.
about fire? I noticed on our email that there's two emails for the fire chief, one chief at NH Townsend, whatever, and
So what-
one fire chief. Does he use them?
Like many of us, he has his name and then there's an alias. So you pay for the name and then you can have as many aliases as you want. So, he's new to Google. He just got a Google account not long ago and I think he's acclimating it to it, but I'm still sending it to his personal address, if that's why you're seeing his personal email address plus his Rollinsford.nh.us address. But then fire chief is just an alias for his name. So it just filters right into his
But
name
we need
account.
both, chief and fire chief? There's two.
I haven't seen chief and fire chief.
Yeah, I went looking for him when I was sending him an email today on my Google account, and I pulled up, and it came up as chief at, and then fire chief. So
would
I know
love-
we're paying for things, but also I
Well-
know that we're short on availability of them, and if he doesn't
So,
use it, one of them.
Aliases don't cost any money,
Okay.
but still it doesn't make sense to have those two. And I'll look into seeing if both of those exist, but it might be something that, that your Google account is remembering. It will remember things that are wrong.
Oh, okay,
So it doesn't mean that they're both real.
okay. If you
So-
just could check into it.
I will tell you which one is
stopped-
real, but I don't think they're both.
Okay, because I
real.
stopped at the station, but he was busy. I was just gonna ask him if he used either one of them. But I didn't think he needed both. But if you're
Yeah,
not
he
paying
has
for them,
one-
it's not a big deal
Yeah, he has
then.
one Google account, no matter how many aliases we all have, there's.
Or if
one
the alias
Google
isn't
account.
correct, that's what you've been sending to, and he doesn't get it.
Well, he didn't say
That's a
anything. I
different
still
issue,
use
right?
his
So-
personal one, because I didn't know he had one, so. Okay, thank you.
George.
Sorry.
I just want to give an update on Flagel.
Perfect, great, thank you.
The road's been all reclaimed and graded, initially graded.
Mhm.
They're gonna come back and fine grade it right before they pave, they're still maybe 2 to 3 weeks out due to the weather of the
Yes.
spring.
Right,
And we still got a little bit of work to do there. The rest of the, we won't be doing much more ditching until they get done. We will be using the excavator to ditch,
someone's
that you?
vibrating.
George.
Oh, it's okay. Just wanna make sure it wasn't me.
It's gotta be like, your warranty is done or something.
Yes, I get that all the time. You want
We're gonna ditch Old Mill with the machine while we have it,
Oh,
so
perfect, okay, good. Good.
get that out of the way.
And-
Oh, you're talking about the one that,
The rental.
yeah.
A rental, and so we're supposed to have more weather this week, right?
Right, it's
So-
supposed to, yeah, we got a cross cover to put in this week and
Okay.
to finish that, and, we used about 90 ton of gravel less than what was on the,
Oh, good.
but we're gonna need to put a curb in along in front of the last house right before the big, just to direct the water.
The
to
water
there.
that way, yeah. It's a shame that we couldn't have gotten the
It's only
the
gonna be,
permitting back from the state, so we didn't have to do the cross culvert, but,
we're not gonna change the one by his house, we're gonna
Right.
change the one up the street,
all right.
because that one's all rotted out, but the one by his house seems to be okay right now, so.
Okay.
I don't wanna dig into that anymore.
Right, right.
But they just, we suggested like a Cape Cod curve, it's not a high curve, it's just the direct flow of water
Water away
away
from
from
it.
that house down to the brook.
Mhm.
And they realigned the hill. The hill is
Okay.
not, it's banked going both ways, so the water stops coming across.
Oh, that's good. Good,
So
okay.
it should stop it from coming across the road. So,
Mhm.
I haven't got any complaints from anybody, I don't know if you people have.
I usually hear
And
them,
I've
so
been,
not
and I've
yet,
been,
so.
and I've been, you know, everybody that has property that I've been talking with,
That's
including the guy on that, where we had the water problem, we did.
That's
show
probably why we haven't, George, had any complaints, because you've been doing a fine job keeping people updated that live there, so.
But, you know, they, it actually came out pretty good, I mean, it's gonna have a 2.5-inch pitch from center to each side, so the
Okay.
water's gonna, should stay off the road. However, there is a couple springs in that street, so we don't know what's gonna happen with that.
Right.
And that may dry out now that we get a dish line, so.
The springs are on that end down there too? I can
No, it's
know
on both sides of the hill, actually,
Right.
there's springs, but,
there's- Great.
well, the ground is still
Sure,
wet.
right,
But
yeah.
now that we get the dish lines, it might dry out, so
Okay.
they could feel it when they were going across with the machine, so.
Questions?
So did you get a timeline of when they're gonna do the paving?
It's 2 to 3 weeks, and he said a rainy day, they may just say, we're coming over to pave and get it done, because they can pave, gravel, yeah, they can pave on gravel, but they can't overlay when it's
Okay.
raining.
That's right, okay,
So they said that, right now, that's gold for them,
okay.
if they have a crew that needs a job for a day, you know, they'll probably
take
slide
care
in
of
and grab it, but.
And then the overlay work on Heritage will begin when they
They'll
have.
slide that in so the
When they-
schedule is available.
Yeah.
Like they said, we'd like to do it all with the equipment in town once.
Mhm.
Right, exactly.
I mean, these guys move equipment, it's crazy. That road reclaimer came down from, is it Gardner or up that way
Oh,
somewhere?
really?
And now, and it left today to go to, the ski resort up that way.
Sunday River or something, one of those.
No, it's way up.
Sugarloaf?
Sugarloaf, exactly,
Sugarloaf.
5 hours away.
Mm.
Wow.
I said, and they
They
hired.
get factored into their price, I'm
Oh,
sure.
no,
so.
it's all moving all in there, and stuff.
Yeah.
He said, you know, because the guy that ran the grader said we should redo the, you know, I told him, I said, we got a water problem on the hill. He says, well, we need to raise it up and, you know, realign and stuff like that. He says, that, you know, that's gonna be a change in your work. I says, so I talked with Chris, and Chris said we're in fine shape. He said, the gravel wise and everything were good, so
Okay.
there should be no extra, you know,
Good, okay,
for that stuff, so.
perfect.
You have anything else? I'm gonna be looking into some speed limit signs for Bob for that road, I don't think there's one on it.
Yeah, there's not.
There isn't one at all on it?
So,
Ah.
and we're gonna need to do something down there.
Yeah,
I mean, they're speeding on it now, it's like a highway now, because it's smooth.
really, when it's gravel?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really nice.
It's smoother now than ever was.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
okay, we
noticed
should
it.
definitely get one then.
Yeah, he's gonna see what the speed limit, the state set that speed limit for.
Well, I think we ran into this problem before, where Bob has had to, the minimum is 35.
Yeah, well, then, they probably ought to push 30 there, I wouldn't.
The
do that.
minimum in town, or
It's certain types of roads. and that
Urban
may be
and
one of
rural,
them.
it's all
35 is much.
It's like
less for the
your
road.
Clement Road is 35 now, and
It's
it used to
35 on
be,
highway line,
it used to be
which is nuts.
25 at one time, wasn't it? Or 30?
I think the default is 30 and you have to do a traffic study to prove that it should be in
Is the
something
default
else.
30? I thought he said the default was 30, oh, whatever. It's higher than it probably should
90%
be.
of Dover is 30. I
Wow.
mean.
It may not have changed their signs.
It's 35 by the highway garage, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's what the state says the road should be.
There shouldn't even be a speed limit, there should be 15.
Well, I
Right.
don't,
Right, because there's too
none
many
of
people
us
on the
disagree
road.
with you.
Yeah.
Bob's kind of a stickler for following the law, you know,
Well,
so.
I
It's
understand
not a
that.
bad thing, so.
Yeah, but, you know, we back out, they don't care, they go into the dump, they gotta get there.
No, that's true too.
Well, and there's
Takes 2
also
minutes to
people
close, probably.
walking from across the road
Right.
and stuff. I
Go
mean, I
backing
think
out of
they
the
should-
garage,
yeah.
you know.
Oh, they hit a 1-ton truck.
Got that, and he said something about looking up, we're gonna get the smoking sign made up for the,
Oh, good.
we'll look into that. Now, that's all coming out of my budget, I'm assuming, signs. Smoking signs and everything. I mean, I don't care, we'll find it somewhere, but
Probably not there, just road signs come out of the highway road signs, but.
You can tell me where you'd like to put it. To my mind, signs make sense, but that doesn't mean that his budget line has to suffer for that.
Right. We can make a
that
note
we can
that we
find,
know that.
you know, yeah, make a note and find money elsewhere to make sure that you can buy the other kinds of
Right.
signs.
But for accounting purposes, it probably doesn't make sense to come out
Yeah.
of that line, so. As long as we keep track, so we know George and Roy didn't spend $600 on signs or whatever.
And I'm gonna, I mean, we got a traffic safety meeting next week, so he's gonna have numbers for me, so I can
Okay.
get the right signs ordered and stuff like
Okay.
that, so I'll know what I need for
Yeah.
PO or whatever.
Okay. Perfect.
But, yeah, I mean, everyone's happy with what's going on down there, so.
Good. We've had people give us compliments about what's happening at the transfer station. The people working there, they're very
I
happy
get a
with
lot of
it.
compliments on that on
So-
Facebook too, so. But the guys,
And it's
the
been
guys,
unusual for us to have any compliments.
well, the guys are good down there.
To be
I mean,
honest.
They help unload the cars, which I
Yeah,
told
no,
them,
that's
I
what
said,
people
you know,
say, yeah.
They
I
do.
know, I told him, I says, you be careful, you know,
Right,
just, that's not your job, that's just.
right.
But
I
I
think
know they
people
said
appreciate
they'd
it.
rather be helpful than, you know, and they keep the place clean.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I mean, trucking company that's hauling our trash says that, you know, there's only 2 transfer stations that are as in good a shape as ours, so.
good.
NRA also complimented us on
Great.
our transfer station.
Mhm.
Turn the
We still
corner.
got some finished work to do over there, but we're trying to get things worked in the schedule here somehow.
Sure.
And
Great.
I guess I don't have anything else, so.
Anything else for George?
Um,
I don't have anything, but
No.
I'd just say thank you. Keep up
Yeah,
the good work.
thank you so
All
much.
right,
Have a Good night.
you too.
Alrighty, so we're not sure if the police are going to come in.
Police are not coming.
Okay, so for next week then, can we add under police? Because we still wanted, I was actually, remember for once, we wanted to talk to the chief about the range.
Yeah.
Right.
There was some more chatter about that I saw from people.
And you saw I sent you the original,
Mhm.
The original
Notice that went out.
notification, yes.
yeah.
Which seemed fine to me, but again, I get it, there's added use, so people are asking again, so we can revisit it, that's not a
Okay.
problem.
I'll put it on
Doesn't
the
mean it's gonna
agenda.
change, but we can revisit it. And for under fire, is Mark planning on coming, the other chief?
I don't know.
If
if
fire
we're-
ponds is a placeholder for him
Yeah.
for budget time, for he can bring you the information as to how you all, the information so you can decide how you wanna proceed, so.
Yep.
So with that, then, we do have welfare, right? Do we wanna do it at the end of the night, or do you wanna do it now?
That's up to you.
Do you guys wanna do it now, or
I
the
think
end?
probably the end.
And
And just fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is, so we don't have to make people leave and come back, all right. Town administration, Space Needs Committee draft chart, so Caroline was kind enough to email it to us all again. I took a look at it this afternoon, and, I think I'm good with it.
You're good with what?
The draft that she sent us, I think it looks fine. There's a lot there, but if you're going to, it also says where you can help, where you can seek assistance to get some of that information. And there was, also I'm looking at an old draft, I don't know, pull it back up again.
I think you're looking at the new draft.
Okay,
It's a lot.
it is a lot, but I don't think it's, I gotta find them. There we go. I'm just one person though, so if you wanna change it, it can be changed, I mean, I'm not the end all.
Would you find that the charge overlaps the kinds of questions that you would want to ask the consulting firm if you're going to go ahead with that?
I think some of it does, yes. And I'm okay with that, that information then can be sent to,
To them
to,
for
to,
review, to
to your
incorporate.
committee, that you
Well,
can
my
review.
committee is defunct,
Well,
to be
it's
honest with you.
gonna
It's just
be-
me and Bob. That's the only ones that are on the committee right now. So it
Mm-hmm.
needs to be
Yeah, it'll get
disbanded and,
reformed.
Reform.
Sure, well, okay,
because
rephrase
there's
that.
nobody else there, yeah.
The reconstituted, Space Needs Committee can use that information to answer those questions, I think. I think that. so-
I think that you should, if, the requirement that, the thing that I read today was that it had who they were recommending to be on the committee, right?
It says
Some
5 residents.
titles and placeholder like ideas, but you know, that's all up for discussion.
Yeah. Where'd it go?
I think we should put it out to the town and have the ones that
For
have a
membership.
problem, but they need to step
Yeah.
up and do it.
Yeah, so it just
So
says,
yes, for membership, but
Yeah,
are you okay with the charge itself.
So it says, the Rollinsford Space Needs Committee, or RSNC, shall be composed of 5 residents and 2 alternates to be appointed by the select board. A select board member shall advise and assist the RSNC as needed, so that's one of the members would be or is it 5 residents and a select board member?
I
And
think
2
it's
alternates.
5 and.
And-
All right, well, that's
yeah.
fine too, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
The only, my only caution is so if you have 8 members, you could have 4 members that believe you should go in one direction, and 4 members that think you should go in a different direction,
Mhm.
and you may not come to any consensus, so it might be better to have an odd number of members, but.
Well, the alternates wouldn't attend, would they? Or do they?
Okay, so then you'd have 6 members.
Well,
You could have 3 and 3 then, I mean,
So it would depend on the night if you don't have regular members present, but you do have alternates, that the alternates could participate and vote in lieu of the full members.
do alternates normally attend the meetings?
They-
They do at the
Just to be
planning?
informed and know what's
Okay.
they
going on.
do, yeah,
Okay,
you don't get
okay.
to vote normally, but.
So that
So
they
then
can,
that's 7. No, 5,
Plus-
6, 8.
well, so I think to Mike's point, when it comes to a time that you would wanna vote on anything, like, we're gonna bring X forward, for an evening when you're gonna vote, you would want an odd number of people present and eligible to vote.
Right.
So maybe it should be 4 residents and a select board member. So you have 5 voting members. I mean, and maybe I'm just
No,
overthinking it, maybe you won't ever have a.
Well, and the
a
other
tie,
thing
but-
is, how many people are we gonna get?
Exactly.
Yeah, so-
It might be easier to find 4, you're right,
6
so.
people.
Because I think it may be difficult
their
to
hand
find that
up.
many people, frankly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Mhm.
But I mean, the rest of it, they have to abide by the right to know law, I mean, that is what it is. The terms will expire upon the completion of deliverables, but no later than November 1 of 2019. Might wanna push
We
that
can,
back,
we
but-
can revise that.
Yeah.
I think you would wanna push that back, but, and then, talking about the assessment and getting input from relevant town board, I think it makes sense, I mean, discussing with the school district regarding, expected changes in use of the school building itself and the SAU building, I mean, different options of things.
That didn't make sense to me, because the SAU building is in Summersworth, so that should be taken out.
Well, I think the point of that,
I think that if we go our separate ways,
then you're gonna need a
use
place,
You
like,
might need a
RGS
place.
it goes back to, again, if you're gonna build a facility that includes administrative offices, then do we need to build it big enough to house, an SAU, like, a couple of rooms for
It's just
school district staff?
something to think about, and then they could pay your rent. But I'm not saying you should do it, I'm just saying that's something that could happen.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah. And then the general assessment to include the following, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I'm not gonna say every single one of them, but if you go forward with, and we haven't gotten to that part of the agenda yet, but what's coming next, actually. We haven't heard back from the consultant service, we haven't got a contract yet, have we?
We do not have a contract, she is working on that, and
Okay,
we should
so
have
we
it
can't-
shortly, but it's not for tonight.
Okay, so we're gonna table that anyways, but, I think a lot of, some of the stuff that may seem like a heavier lift in the, sorry, I can see, I'm sorry, of the, the charge will be, excuse me, will be born out of that study, so there'll be more resources, I think, but, I mean, if you wanna wait to vote on it again next week, if you wanna revise it again, you don't have to vote on it tonight if you don't want to. I just thought it'd be nice to cross something off.
Or you can vote on it tonight and change a date to something a little bit later that gives you more flexibility with the warrant.
You should at least do December, maybe January.
I think, I mean, at this point, it's approaching the end of June, we have to find these people.
Mhm.
I think you're talking.
Do you even need to put an end date? You know,
don't have to.
Yeah, I wouldn't, because,
So scratch that.
yeah, I would just take the date off.
Yeah.
Works too.
Yeah.
Like a vent that's like pouring pollen down on top. That's what it feels like, inhaling pollen right now. excuse me. All right, so are you ready to vote on it tonight, or do you wanna wait? I'm fine with just scrapping the date and moving forward.
Do we wanna change the number of,
And change it probably to 4 instead of 5.
You can say up to
yeah,
a
maybe
certain
up
number,
to.
because you don't know how many people you'll have to step up for it.
Mhm.
Yep, I think up to makes sense.
Up to 4?
So, do we really need alternates? I mean, like in the case of the planning board, you have alternates for people that recuse themselves. Are we gonna have people that are recusing themselves from this?
We did before and they just resigned, so.
I mean, I sort of think that should be part of the vetting process for appointing members. I guess you don't know what you're gonna find, right? So, we wanna build a new facility and it's at Caroline's house, right? She shouldn't be on the, but
Right.
you don't know, right?
Right, we had a contractor in town who was on for a while, and his insight was very helpful, but he resigned because he wanted his, if it was to go out to bid, he wanted his son, who also had a firm, to be able to bid on it, which was fine, he did the right thing, so it was a loss, but, and then Charlie resigned, or asked not to be reappointed because of perceived conflict as moderator, so, and that makes sense too, and that's fine, they're both losses, but
Mm-hmm.
still. Yeah, I mean, that is part of the vetting process, we probably should be asking. I think we were very excited to get both of those individuals signed up, to be honest, last time, because they both brought different types of insight, but, you know, they're not available this time. But there are other people out there like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with moving ahead. I think this is all, whether this is a heavy charge or not, this is stuff we need to figure out, right?
In a worst case scenario, in a timely manner, the committee can come back and say, look, we're not able to access this information. We need you to either help us find a different avenue to get the information, or you find it on your own, because we're not capable of doing it. And that's completely acceptable too, in my mind. Volunteers coming and saying, like, this is, we can't handle this, please get us help. But
So you bring up an interesting point, because I'm thinking about when we post the openings on this committee, do you post the charge or not? You post the charge so that people know what they're getting in for and they
Sure.
know what they're signing up for.
I think so.
But at the same time, it's a heavy
Yeah, scare
charge, is it
people
gonna
away,
further
think?
deter people, you know?
You should be
I
honest
think
with
you need
people,
to
but
put it out there that, a little more simpler terms of, you know, new building versus renovation of old building, or maintaining both buildings, or, you know, I mean, you have to be a little, that one is, it really
So
isn't clear what the
simplified,
charge
all right.
is. For someone who doesn't know anything about it, who might be willing to step up.
you could,
Okay.
excuse me, publicly, you could just issue the charge of the committee. You know, that it's an advisory, in its advisory capacity to the select board, the committee will do blah, blah, blah. Taking out, of course, the 5 members, changing that to up to 4, or it could be up to 6, whatever you want to do. Maybe up to 4, and then taking out the date. And people at least will know, I think what they're getting, they don't need to know every single detail that's like all of this, I don't think.
Well, I mean, you know, I think Denise has a good point that it's kind of heavy reading, and so maybe just a quick blip about, you know, this is what it is, and then click here for the full charge, and
That's
so you
fine.
can
We
read
could do
more,
that too.
all right?
You
I
could
just
do
need
that,
to
too. We just need to
think
get it done sooner rather than later.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, one of the things that, back to the membership though, if we go to 6, I wouldn't have your alternates. If you go to
Right.
4, I
Right.
would have your alternates.
I think
You know,
you
just,
should-
you know, I mean, I just, did I say that wrong?
No, you
You
said
said
it
it
But I
right.
said, okay, yeah, I mean,
So you have enough voices.
you just wanna have enough people, because there's gonna be a lot of work to do, and you're gonna have
Mhm.
enough people who are gonna have the time to do it. So more hands make it easier, so.
I would say, just say up to 6 members
Mhm.
and scrap the alternates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think Miles is absolutely right. There's a reason why there are alternates to the ZBA and to the planning board.
But they're
Legal.
decision-making boards, where this one
Exactly.
isn't, because you gotta come to the
Just
Board of
advise.
Selectmen.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
All right, so why
Good.
don't we have a motion to adopt that charge, and we'll
Alright, I'll make a motion that we adopt the charge of the Rollinsford Space Needs Committee as amended.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, all right, so scratch one, say aye. So the police consultant, we're gonna have to table because they have, unless people just don't wanna move forward. It seemed pretty clear in the last few weeks you wanted to, but
Yeah.
we're waiting for the contract to come, so. And then we can say whether or not we really wanna do it once we see the contract in writing.
Are you doing both firms' contracts? Or did we pick up one?
Didn't we pick one, I thought?
I thought we went with the second
Second
one.
firm with the
B.
more,
Okay.
yeah.
B, yeah. It was my recollection too, but sometimes it's fun. So we're still waiting for that language, so we should probably table that for now.
Yes.
Tell them to get with it, or we're not gonna hire them.
Well, I
I'm
was
with you.
going to say the same thing, actually. Eversource proposal, it's the same thing, we're waiting for that.
We're
The
still
contract
waiting,
language.
and I'm not sure why that's taking so long, but
So,
they know we're
unfortunately.
after it, they were hoping for tonight,
Wow.
no language.
Can't give them our business if they don't give us the language, so.
No, so, I'm hopeful we'll have it for next week.
All right, so we'll table that for now. C, cutting trees in the park, so the hydro dam at Bicentennial Park, let me just say tonight, so our side of the embankment, there are some trees that would need to be cut down for repairs that need to be made, according to FERC, is that who's requiring the repairs?
Yes,
The Federal Energy
regulatory.
Commission, thank you. I'm trying to think what the R was. So we need to decide whether or not we're going to allow that cutting to happen. There are requirements in the Rollinsford zoning or zoning ordinance about cutting on the river, and there's also
DES.
Shoreline Protection Act.
Yeah.
DES Shoreline Protection Act. But we are allowed to thin, and that we saw.
At
If
least
in
as
some
far as the
trees-
state regulations are
Right.
concerned, and then you're just, you have the zoning ordinance.
Right, and we have the ability to, I think in the ordinance actually, to waive the town's, the town doesn't actually have to follow its own zoning ordinances, which is a joke, but it is what it is. I only bring all that up, not to discourage us from doing it, but just so everyone understands that there are rules in place about an individual just going and cutting all these trees down if they own property along the river. If we don't allow this, then they won't be able, the company that's been managing and paying for the relicensing of our, to use our hydro plant, and for us to actually let anyone else use the hydro plant, won't be able to make those repairs, and we'll have wasted a lot of resources to get this far in relicensing, and may not be able to get relicensed, at which point they may say, okay, Rollinsford, well, you're gonna pay us then for all of what we did for you, and we couldn't go any further, because they have to cut these trees down so they can do the repairs.
How
Am I
many
leaving
trees?
something out, Caroline?
No, I think you pretty much got it.
Shocking,
It's,
I remember that.
everything within 15 feet of the river in the park. That's what they're looking at. There's one really large ash tree.
What's the issue with the trees, like limbs getting into the water? Like,
I think it has to do with roots getting into the penstock. It may also have to do with access to the dam itself, because they're going to be replacing the boards that are no longer along the top of the dam. And so it may be about access for that as well.
Is it worth going to have a look at what they're gonna cut?
I think we might wanna consult with the Conservation Commission too, before we have a lot of angry people down here and saying you were allowed to cut trees down and it wasn't your right to do or something, so.
I mean, my gut instinct is we have to do this, right? I mean,
We want that relicense,
yeah.
for sure. We depend on an income stream from that hydro plant. Not to mention, even if it wasn't them running the plant on our behalf, they're paying for our license. and the understanding was we were gonna let them continue operating. We won't have a license either, let anyone else operate it, so, unless we pay for it, it's a very lengthy and expensive process, so. I would say we probably wanna let them do it as well, but when do they have to have a decision by, Caroline? That I
They were
don't
really
remember.
hoping for it tomorrow, but
Of
the-
course.
the cutting itself isn't supposed to happen until mid-July.
Oh,
So
okay. So.
they do have to do some planning around it. I wouldn't delay it too much, but it probably would be okay for the decision not to happen tonight.
Maybe we could inform them that the board has discussed it, and we would like to get the input of the conservation, unless you both don't think we need to, and that's fine too, we
No,
can
I'd
just
like
move
to
forward.
see that, at least consult.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably in all of our best interest to do
Mhm.
that. Consult with them, and they may say, you know, it's really, it's not our area, it's not their property, it abuts the conservation area as a park, so I don't know, they probably don't have any say over it, but it would be nice to at least consult with them. Doesn't mean we have to take their recommendation.
I mean, so if we play this forward and they say absolutely not, those trees can't go, then we're just gonna say, well, we're cutting them
Why?
anyway.
Well, we ask them why. If there's a legitimate reason why it can't be done, well, then we can maybe go back and discuss it with the
The engineers and then,
the
you
electrical
know,
company, yeah. Again, we don't have to, it's just, it might be nice to get their opinion. And we're not asking for their blessing, because we can make the decision.
Yeah, I would say
It's
just ask
just-
them, just tell them that.
I don't know, when are they
they're
meeting
doing
though
it,
again, I don't know when their next meeting is, so, I don't wanna delay this indefinitely.
I think they're probably a week and a half out.
You know.
My guess is a week from Tuesday.
but You can't talk to the chair?
Well, I
The
can,
opinion
but
of
they're
the
not,
chair.
that's
Just the
not the
chair,
board though,
so,
that's not the,
yeah.
you know, that's one person.
All right.
Maybe we can ask them to come to next Monday's meeting.
I'm gonna have a discussion with us, yeah.
Again, that might just be the
Just
chair.
maybe the chair though. Can the chair of that committee send a poll out to the membership of their committee and see what they think? Again, maybe it's just not plausible or possible for them to do it and we just move forward.
Well, but you lack
Right.
the input of, if they say no, are they saying no because they don't like the idea? You know, just because of, you know, for emotional reasons, or are they saying no because they don't think it's compliant with, you know,
Well, can we
the
send?
master plan, or, you know, who
Right.
knows why they're saying no?
Right.
Can we send information to the whole committee from the Board of Selectmen saying, this is what we've been, you know, asked to do, and we wanna run it by you for your opinion, not your vote and not your,
Right.
and just say that, you know, if you have any concerns whatsoever, please be at our meeting next week and, express them. But send it to the whole committee, not just,
Okay.
not just the chair, does that make sense?
I can do
That
that.
does make sense to me.
Yep.
Okay,
And then we can make our decision next Monday night.
right,
And let-
and tell them we are very tight on our
Right.
making a decision,
But
or,
please let, it's not Ian anymore, what's the company, Green Mountain Power?
Green Mountain Power.
Let them know that we just wanna consult with them.
Yes,
We will give them our
Absolutely.
decision
He's
on.
calling tomorrow, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's probably fair to say that if we're just a select board, that we're, in concept, we're okay with it, but we wanna consult with the Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
yeah, I think
Is
that's
that-
fair.
So just so they know there is a decision forthcoming. I don't want them to think they gotta wait another weekend, it's a crapshoot. I mean, I think it would be foolish of us not to do it, but again, I understand we live in a small town and,
Are you gonna write them?
I can write the email. The
Okay.
other piece of information is that there's a large ash tree there. There's an invasive species eating
Yes.
ash trees. So,
the emerald,
ash
ash
borer,
borer beetle.
yes.
Yep.
So, anecdotally, the arborist who
You tell me the
calls,
tree has to come down anyways,
essentially,
just
it's
cut the tree down then, forget it. Really? You let me go on a Conservation Commission, right, just cut the tree down.
that was an
Tree
afterthought.
doomed.
It's not that it has to come down, it's not gonna die right this minute, but we do know that.
It's infested though, the arborist told us it's
He
infested.
didn't say it's infested. He did not say it's infested.
Okay.
But there's a likelihood, given the environment, you know, here where we live, in the infestation in this area, that it's gonna go soon.
So just put that in your note as well. as justification to, what?
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, let's just
I will add that.
add that.
I
that is a-
apologize for the buried lead there.
Killing me. All right, ash borer, beautiful,
All right,
emerald ash borer.
yes,
Okay, so we will hold off until till
Okay.
next Monday on that?
yes.
I forget where I left it off. Recreation, another cheery topic for tonight.
Hmm.
Denise, do you wanna give us an update on,
All right.
on our space issues over there?
So I went to the school board meeting last week and they gave us 30 to 45 minutes of conversation
Wow.
and it ended nowhere. We don't have anything more than we had before.
So they weren't willing to take a position?
No, I did, well, I can't say that. I got an email from Rich saying that they will modify the hallways so tables are on one side and we can have the other half of the hallway, the center hallway down the annex, but that's it.
So none of the other classrooms
No,
in the annex, the
no,
library?
no, their teachers need to have their time to fix their rooms and it would be a failure having a new kindergarten teacher not be able to have her classroom in the length of time that they're saying that she needs and that's.
So this will be this way every summer? Or
No,
just
what
this year?
happened was, it's a twofold thing. We knew about the gym. We knew we
Yep.
couldn't have the gym.
Mhm.
So the gym is being done the end of July, is that right?
July
Yeah.
20th.
So it can't be walked on for the rest of the summer. So we knew about that. But what also is happening is that they're having tile in the old building redone on the, I think it's both floors, but it's, so for some reason it's starting late. And so that side of the building has to get done before this happens. I think it's just the hallways though, yeah, just the hallways. So that's off the plate. And so it's just, so they need to do that side of the building first, and then the last side, this side of the annex is what's left, and it's just, they have to move all of the furniture out and do all the waxings and all of that, and there isn't enough time in their thoughts. So, principal and the head of maintenance was there, and they just can't see any way that they can accommodate us. I don't think it's a yearly thing, however, I would recommend to the recreation committee immediately following this year's program to submit a space request and get it in there immediately with the dates that we need, so there's no question for next year. So it just pushes us to think about our 5-year plan, what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it, and get, see if there's other things that we can do to have space that doesn't rely on everyone else to make those decisions for us. So, we're gonna have to start thinking about that.
Did anyone retire when you were on the school board?
Did anybody retire when I
Any
was?
teachers retire when you were there?
Yes.
Oh, God, I was there for many years.
I know
Yeah,
you-
oh,
I know you
yeah,
were. I know you
yeah.
were. I just
Oh,
wanna
yeah,
say
every
how-
year there was retirements, I
Okay.
mean.
When do they have to let you know?
November.
November, right, of the
Oh,
year
yeah.
before,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we have been, when I say we, as a town side, have been in contact with the school for long before that. So they have known about Mrs. Wright's departure and Mrs. Nichols' departure since November of last year.
Yeah.
And this principal was the principal then,
Yes.
so,
But it is their building, and
oh, I understand
they
it's their
have the
building.
right to say,
So when
We
it's
can't.
103 degrees outside, and it's not safe to leave the children of Rollinsford, and other children in other towns, that go to our program outside, they're just gonna all pile into the hallway and
Yeah.
have their program there?
yeah. Well, we're also looking, we talked about this the other night, we're looking to see if we can get some more field trips out to get them away from the school for the whole week, so we're working on that. My other suggestion is if it's forecasted to rain the entire day, you just call and say, sorry, we can't have the program, the school has not allowed us to have these 2 weeks of the school, so we don't have indoor accommodations at the school. We have looked into the Legion. The
Mhm.
Legion is gonna get back to us this week, I hope, but there will be a fee for it.
Mhm.
It doesn't come free.
Mhm.
So I think that, they also Judy, the chair of the school board, had gone to Taylor Rental to investigate rentals of big, circus tent type things, or what do you know what I'm talking about, the bigger tents.
Mhm.
And she just came up with, they came and had a great bargain for us if we wanna buy one for $1,000.
The school district paying for it?
Well, they said they would,
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
But then when I left the meeting, I guess they said, well, I guess she didn't want us to buy the tent. I'm not gonna tell them how to spend their money, that's not my job, but the problem
You want me
is,
to tell
those are very difficult to put
of
up.
course they are.
And who's gonna do it, So,
You
to
and
say,
Celia, I think.
and then who's gonna store it?
Right.
Cause what, they were gonna buy it, but we were gonna have to store it, I guarantee
Where?
it.
Well, we have
Yeah.
a storage shed there, right? I'm sure it'll fit right
Oh my
in.
God, those things are enormous.
I know, I'm joking.
Yeah.
It's not gonna fit.
But, those are with spikes and
Yeah, it's not
I
plausible.
that wasn't my idea.
Well, could they lend the labor? Not that that's a full answer, I'll grant you, but
To put it up?
yes.
Well, I don't know. If they wanna buy it, I'll use it. But I
Are they
mean,
gonna
Or
I'm
maybe
not,
they can help put it up.
I would
It's
hope
their
so.
tenant, I mean, they should,
Well,
Put it there.
whatever, I'm not gonna.
I was going to take Selmay's offer for those 2 weeks for sure, to use her, which is a good sized tent, but
You have one of
it's
those
not
big
with those
tents,
great
too.
big spikes
But
though, right?
it is. You have those, it's got those big iron spikes. You gotta put
Yeah.
them with a sledgehammer.
But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not-
Yes, you do.
But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not as big as the big,
I don't know, I've put that
Big
up a few
ones,
times.
right?
It's
I
pretty big, Denise.
what?
It's a 40 by 60 tent is
Okay,
what the
it's 40
school
by
district
60.
was
So
offering.
what is yours?
It's smaller than that.
Smaller than that.
But you're still gonna have to
By
drive
40.
those.
Okay,
those
excuse me.
irons.
Well, I mean, if you have someone who knows what they're doing, then.
Oh,
then-
why didn't you have the county do it?
Well, they put it up. Yeah.
Oh, why not? They
I don't
know.
I'm asking. I don't know.
Oh, well, they
And
put
have
it
you
down.
asked the county if they have a tent available?
Well, I know they have tents, because they
I
use,
know,
we use
but
them for
would they,
family
would
day.
they have one available?
Oh, you know what, I didn't think about them.
And then what about the
But would be-
National Guard?
Um,
I used that in Hampton.
Oh, really?
They set up all our tents
Huh,
for the whole summer.
it's
Really?
Troy, right?
Troy.
Troy.
Yeah.
They're
I will,
able to do it.
I will
That's even
contact
better.
Troy and see if it's available
Mhm.
for
I
that
still
2
think
week
it's
period.
very disappointing though,
Well,
that
yeah, There-
the
I have to
town
say-
isn't gonna be able to utilize, I mean, the
There was-
program has been there for decades.
there was some school board members who were really trying to work it out. I
Mhm.
do believe that, but I think that they just weren't going to be able to with the principal and others, so. It's unfortunate, it's been there for as long as I've lived in town. And it's always been a part of the summer, and it shouldn't matter whether it was a school employee running it or a town employee running it, it shouldn't have mattered. It's still, and I told them that our goal is to have a safe, secure environment for the
Exactly.
children of Rollinsford to go in the summertime and keep them active, and it is,
There are 2, 3, 4, 5, I might be missing one, rooms. So 3 rooms, other rooms that could be available. We take out kindergarten and one of the first grades, other retiree. Take those rooms out, of the equation, that's what
1,
it's just
2, 3.
mind-boggling to me, yeah, right?
Well,
Isn't
it's
there-
just
isn't there-
three.
There's 3 other ones, right?
Well, yeah,
So the library, then there's the second grade class is part of the 1-2 with Debbie. And
that's a new teacher coming in,
Yeah.
so that they think the
so
teacher
fine,
needs
take that one out of there, give them the month to do their thing. But
And then
across the hall, Mrs. Horton, or maybe, I don't even try to think of their names.
I don't know.
Miss Martin and Mr. Yandel.
So, yeah, so
There's
there's 2
two
more there, and then
there,
there's the
yeah.
library.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter, because we can come up with all the scenarios we want, it's up to him, I
But
guess.
it's their decision.
It's very disappointing
Yeah.
that, this is a publicly funded building
Mhm.
that isn't gonna be able to be used.
Mhm.
Because one individual has said that, who doesn't live here, who says that, we can't use it.
We can't make it work. We can't make it work. So,
It's really not the best way to start off your career in Rollinsford, I wouldn't imagine. But neither was making ethnic jokes at the awards ceremony, so that's what he was doing, so. Which I didn't think was very appropriate, but. That's up to the school board to handle, I guess, but apparently they won't do that either, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Okay,
So what was the other thing on there?
non-public, registration assistant. Oh,
That
okay,
is-
so,
we can do that.
I was gonna say, can we do that at the
That's
end
part of
too?
the welfare.
okay, so let's
Yeah.
do that. That will be
Yeah.
moved, oh goodness, so I don't forget at the end of the night, that I'm gonna wanna leave. We already handled, building permit schedule of fees, yay, Tom's gonna bring us something, hopefully in the next week or two. He said next week, didn't he? But, we'll see.
I don't know, we'll see. I can help him with that.
Okey-dokey. Policy review, oh, we're flying through it tonight. So, we had given Caroline some, changes to make, she's working on those, she told me earlier today, under the BOS policy, which is fine, I couldn't imagine we would expect them to be over tonight. It seemed like every
No.
section needs to be revised, so.
Yes,
But
you
you've
know,
got the, sort
it's
of
in the
the
works, I
notes
got
on it.
somewhere.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So do we wanna talk about asset management or purchasing this evening? We can look at them if you want, do you have copies of them to, of us to, wow. Copies of them for us to look at, sorry. Mine is much tonight, sorry.
I might have only saved your copies. So we have assets.
Oh, no, okay.
Um,
Okay. That's
I
good.
have assets and I have purchasing. So,
Do you wanna look at them tonight? No, okay, so Denise, do you wanna look at them tonight?
I could go either way, but,
have more paper.
okay.
I
And you
have
can-
them at home.
You have them?
And
Okay.
if I commit that I will review them and mark them up, and we can talk about it next week,
Next week it is.
is that
Yeah.
okay?
That's perfectly fine. I'll take them
You
back if you
both
don't
will
want to
commit
hold
that
on.
you'll do it as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will, that's fine.
do we have these electronic?
They're in your emails.
They're in our email.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
it, yeah.
I sent
I'm
you
gonna-
all three in one email.
Okay, I'm gonna put an appointment on my calendar to.
Oh, here's the building permit fees.
Okay, so we're gonna table this then,
Alright.
that's fine, that's what we wanna do. Town administration, standing items, board member activities and updates. So Denise has been very busy this past week and
Last week I have.
has given us, any other updates for us, I'm sorry. That's what I'm leading up to.
On rec? No.
Or anything that you've been
No.
working on.
Oh, what did I have? I thought the, Wednesday meeting was awesome
Oh, good.
with the budget committee,
Tuesday.
Tuesday, for the
The
municipal,
training.
so, you know, you can learn something every single time that
Yeah.
you do it. But there are some new guidelines too that people didn't know about, so I thought it was very well done. And I think that we should budget it every single year going forward, because it doesn't hurt to take it twice, and if we have new members to
It's great for the new members, and it was nice to see the
Absolutely.
new members
Yeah,
there,
all three
being
of them were
interested in
there.
learning.
Was it a good turnout? Was there any other,
yeah,
are
everyone.
there other committees or boards or anything? that
We
show
had
up?
a cemetery trustee
Oh, good.
and,
The
Trustee of
trustees
the
of the
trust
trust
fund.
fund.
trustee and the trustee of the
Wonderful.
trust fund.
That's
So that's
great.
really great
Cool.
for them too, and
And
school,
some from the school,
And
good.
budget
and lots from the budget.
yeah,
Good,
yeah,
that's great.
So,
yeah.
it was
I-
really good.
Information
Yeah,
is
I
power,
was
so that's a
really,
good thing.
yeah, I was really pleased with that. And Wednesday, what did I have Wednesday? Oh, no,
Well,
nothing. I had, and then I had the, Thursday, what was Thursday?
Rec, school.
School board was
School
Thursday.
Yeah, so,
That's already good.
and then we
Got my
already
blood
talked
pressure
about
up.
that. So that's all good. I have nothing this week, but tonight.
So I was also at the budget training, very, very useful. I didn't make it to stormwater, I spaced on a conflict that I had, almost left someone stranded at the airport.
Sure, they appreciate you not forgetting
Yeah,
them.
it was CNJ, not the airport, but
Fair enough, but
Um,
still.
this week, tomorrow night, we have CIP at 6:30,
Oh, good.
to get that kicked off, and,
Got that posted. Or
I
will
don't
be
know, do that
before we, before we
That's a
leave.
good question. We can certainly do it. I'll check into it before we leave.
That would be good.
Yeah.
They always remember that.
Yes, yes.
I wanted to actually go to that training, I apologize, I couldn't make it, so.
Mm.
I actually really did want to, regardless of whether I was gonna be here or not. It was worthwhile, but I just, I couldn't make it, so.
We were very fortunate we got the executive director, who was the one who did it last year.
Burns?
Mhm.
Margaret, yeah,
Margaret
now,
Burns?
Margaret Burns. Now that she's executive director, she's still
Sure.
doing the trainings to stay engaged with
That's
the
a good thing.
membership.
That's a good thing.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get this thing to work. Did anybody look at it?
Found the
Oh,
remote.
really?
Found the remote.
Found the remote.
Okay.
Oh, we found it? Oh, well.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about
Say
that.
love you. These things happen.
We have a remote.
You made it work though, I'm assuming.
Oh, she had a
Well,
little,
It
Did
actually,
she have
I
a
thought
little
worked
one?
out really well.
That's
She had printouts
Yeah.
and she had her laptop facing people, but that way she was able to look at people and engage with
Right.
people,
Oh,
I
there
think,
you
better
go.
than staring at a screen in
At
the
a
dark.
screen? Yeah,
Exactly.
fair enough.
So I liked it that way,
Me too.
better, actually.
Yeah.
It's
and
good.
she kept to a 2 hour and we were out of there at 8:30.
Oh, that's great.
Right? It's 8:30.
It was very
Yeah,
dense.
yeah,
It was,
yeah.
she covered a lot.
Town administrator update? Unless, I'm sorry, anyone
No,
else,
no.
anything
No,
else?
that's it.
Okay.
So,
What do you have for us?
our bookkeeper started today.
Oh, good.
It's really
How
wonderful.
is
It's
Chuck,
going well.
right?
Chuck is doing fabulously.
Good.
He's catching on. He's accomplished a lot already.
Good.
So,
Good, good.
that's really exciting. He's got a great attitude and he's not scared by our scary bunch of disorganized files or anything. He's not put off,
He
so.
was, yes, seemed like a real go-getter when we interviewed him, so.
And she
Yeah.
has an empty corner now on her desk.
An empty
I guess
corner,
she said, what,
What's missing?
a giant
and there was
pile
a
of stuff.
pile missing. It was really.
Oh, that's good, I'm glad he's working.
It was great. Stormwater, there's a lot going on with stormwater. There's a stormwater meeting Wednesday afternoon, a stormwater coalition meeting in Dover. I'm gonna go to
Okay.
that with
Good.
Paul. I haven't been to one of those in a while, so I'm looking forward to that. We have a schedule of things that we need to accomplish, and we're working on those things, sending out pamphlets and such. But one of the things that we're required to do is, by way of informing the public, is have a public hearing.
Okay,
So we were kind of thinking that maybe that was something that the Stormwater Committee would do in conjunction with the Select Board.
that's a great idea.
And so we were looking for a date, maybe sometime the end of June or in July.
End of June probably is not gonna happen, that's next week, so.
Right. So how about, yes, so I can't believe, yes, you're right. So I guess we're into July now. Maybe, they typically meet on a Wednesday night. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Wednesday night, but essentially laying out the whole stormwater management plan, why we're doing what we're doing, and
It's a good idea.
letting people know how they can make a difference and help us be more compliant with their own practices.
Discharge. Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Also, we are going to be sending out a survey to people who live on the streets that received dog waste signs, in order to collect data, because we're required to collect data,
Okay.
about
Good
the
idea.
impact of the signs, asking people whether or not they've noticed the sign and whether or not they've noticed any improvement in the problem since the installation of the signs.
Right, right,
So that'll be happening pretty soon.
okay. Good.
They have a copy of the grant application, the scope of the grant application, and they'll be reviewing that. So they have a lot going on, but if you all would consider a date, it doesn't have to be decided tonight, but
Can I make a suggestion that we don't meet the same night as the sewer and water?
so they're meeting the 24th next Wednesday, and they're on an every other week schedule, I
Right.
believe. So
Right.
maybe, so in between would be 4th of July, so I guess that leaves the third Wednesday of the month if you wanna do a Wednesday.
Are you doing, I thought you said you wanted to do it in conjunction with the select board, right?
Well,
Before.
it would require you all
Monday night.
doing a Wednesday night. I'm not sure whether, it's up to you if you wanna meet earlier on a Monday night.
Probably easier.
We could do that, but it would probably delay the meeting some.
I think we can do it a Wednesday night. I mean, at that point, it'll just be the two of us.
I don't care about Wednesday, I just don't want it to be the same
Yeah.
as the sewer and
Yep.
water, so.
So
So-
sewer and water is meeting next week on the
On the 24th.
26th.
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 All right,
yeah.
so
And then again on the 10th, so we could
you could do it
target,
the 17th.
yeah, July 17th.
Is that too late?
It's not too late, that would be fine.
Okay.
I mean, I think.
Or if they pick another day during the week, then
Well, if that works for you too, then we can do that.
either.
And I will propose that to them. They were pretty open about a Wednesday if it were a Wednesday. If it were a different day, then I would have to make sure that that different day worked with them.
Okay.
But if you wanna go with the 17th, I can tell them it's the 17th.
Okay.
At 6:30?
Sure. If 6 works, that's better.
Okay.
Does
So
that
you
work
want
for you,
6?
Maya?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
I should probably actually look at my calendar.
Your calendar first, Mile, don't be like me.
It's not a big meeting in the afternoon, but, oh, I'm not going, there's the company summer outing is in Boston on that day. I'm not going.
No.
No,
Oh, okay.
You've been to Boston before, haven't
not in 4 years.
you? You've seen it before.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to an outing, I don't blame you.
Okay, so the 17th at 6. Thank you for that.
Anything else?
It's been busy with hiring people, but rec is getting underway. We're sorting through who still needs
Another place
hiring.
to have it.
Yeah, it's just,
Sorry.
it's going
It really
well.
bothers me.
Mm.
It really does.
It's good, but I can't say enough for how exciting it is to have help, and he's already able to take extra things beyond bookkeeping.
With
so,
Chuck? Good.
Yes,
Yeah, you seem very able, so,
it is, it's really great.
Very capable.
I'm very excited about progress.
great. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm all set, thank you.
When is your plan to move the offices?
As soon as this commotion's probably gone, huh? Move that desk,
We
right?
clean off the desk.
It's gonna take a while. It's 46
A lot of years.
years worth of crap for two
Stuff
people,
in
so.
there. Within the next couple of months, it depends on the shifting of files and furniture. I've talked to the highway department, who is happy to build a table for the board, when they have the time to do so. So they have to work that around paving and other things. So it's about kind of all the pieces falling into place, but I'm hoping that it will all be in place by September, maybe. I don't know if that's too optimistic. I have to stay in touch with the highway department and see how their workload goes.
What do you mean by building a table for the board?
So, getting rid of the 3 desks that are in the board's office, replacing it with a table that can have drawers,
Okay,
space for the board to sit at the table. You can all have like workstations at that table. It would have extra space should you wanna bring legal or somebody else to sit and meet with the board. Like if you had a non-public legal or personnel, you could do that in there. I'm still working on workspace for Chuck. We don't have an appropriate work table desk area for him that's like ergonomically correct for keyboarding. We don't wanna create a workplace injury, so Salme's donating some furniture. Once I get the furniture, we'll see how well that fits or doesn't fit. We have some cubicle pieces and parts, some table and drawer
sure.
things up in the attic that maybe the highway department could build legs for or something. So it's about getting the furniture, the right furniture built and organized, and then getting the move to happen. So
I thought you were going in the selectman's
yes,
office.
yes, so
Okay,
that's the other
I
thing.
thought he was going in your office.
Yes,
Okay.
but there's not room for my desk in the select board's office until we get rid of the 3 big desks that are in there.
Correct,
So we need that table built first so that you all have space to put
Just get
your
rid of the desks. We don't,
pens
I
and
mean-
paper. Well,
I don't have a dog in this fight because I would leave it, but
I mean,
But-
I wanted to have a workspace, but it doesn't need to hold you up.
those desks are
Do
just-
your stuff.
Yeah.
Plan
It's just a place to
appropriately
drop
for
stuff.
a
Put it
workspace,
outside.
but get rid of those desks. I mean, I just wanna know, when do I have to clean it out? My
oh,
stuff
I
anyway.
will, you with the least amount of stuff on and in your desk.
Yeah, I know,
Probably most of it's not even yours, it's just crap you
Right, I
inherit.
said my stuff, I ain't cleaning any of the other stuff.
Right.
Probably
I've
nothing.
got like
It's just
3
the
things
stuff
in
that
mine.
came with the desk. I will let you know and
Okay.
thank you for that.
Okay,
But so if you all are fine with getting rid of desks, then we'll move forward with,
I
I mean,
am.
this is something we've discussed for a few years, actually, getting rid of some of those, not all of the desks, but I think it makes sense, just to.
Tom's desk will stay, or,
he has a table that is,
Table, yeah.
we might rearrange him, but he still needs space in there big enough to lay out plans, so he'll
Now,
stay there.
the desk that Mike has, is that not something that you can use?
everything is like writing desk height, not typing height. Like if you think about
Oh, I
a
see what
computer
you're saying.
table, like the
Yeah.
keyboard's always lower so that your arms can come
Yeah.
down at a right angle for typing. So,
Hmm,
Yeah,
You
they're
know-
like up here.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
I
kind
get
of, you know, that's something that's kind of intriguing about the cubicle pieces and parts is that you could build the supports for that at whatever height is workable for somebody.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, okay.
And to my mind, that's just a piece of plywood on either side because they hook right into the walls of the
Mhm.
cubicle. I wouldn't wanna use the walls of the cubicle that have been up there collecting dust for
Yeah.
decades. But we could, you know, they hook right into what could be a piece of plywood on either end. I don't think that has to be really complicated. It's just
Mhm.
about, I wanted Chuck to take some ownership in getting acclimated here and having some say in
Absolutely.
what is space.
What is comfort for him, because he's gonna
Right.
be sitting there doing data entry and all that kind of stuff,
Which is
absolutely.
why I didn't try to procure furniture ahead of time, because I
Mhm.
wanna make sure that, you know, everybody's different and that he fits with
Mhm.
whatever we get.
Okay.
So, we do have things to work with, and I think, I guess, if you guys are free to get, you know, ready to get rid of your desks, then, that certainly moves
Give me
things
a
along.
weekend. Give me a week and it will be yours to do whatever you want. And
So,
everything else.
do you need help with some of the materials that probably predated you, and
I'm
do you?
gonna take my civil defense helmet that
Yeah,
was mine, that
Yeah,
I brought here, and, someone gave me as a joke, but anyways. And, there's like 2 or 3 pictures maybe that I have in there, in the desk, and you can do anything else what you want with the rest of it, it's not mine, so. All
okay,
Ed's old stuff, it's not mine. Yes, it's-
yes,
and,
okay,
and as defense, he cleaned out a lot of stuff
yes, you did.
when he left, actually, so,
So
but
I
there's
didn't-
still a lot of stuff in
Okay,
there.
well, that's good to know, I
It probably
didn't,
wasn't even really his, he just sort of, the things with these desks, in case you haven't noticed yet, people just drop things on them, and then they sort of become yours, and they
Yes,
incorporate the rest of your
yes,
mess.
yeah, yeah.
So, I think it's wonderful to get rid of them.
I
okay,
think so too, and it makes it easier for you to organize yourselves and giving yourselves space.
don't
I just
work.
wanted to have some kind of a table for us to be able to go to if we needed to.
well, we certainly have tables that are in the planning office, other things that we can sort of patch together in the short term, so you have a place to rest a notebook and pencils
Yeah.
until we
The
get
meetings that we've
right
had
picture.
in that office since the time I've been here have been non-public with the attorney.
Mhm.
Right,
That's, and on town meeting day, when people come to vote,
Yeah.
we'll be in there doing work, but that's,
But they're
one
having
day
all
out
their
of
meetings
the-
down the region.
well, now, right, but I'm just saying, those are the only
Okay,
times we've
yeah,
ever even
yeah.
used it. I mean,
But
those
I-
desks just take up space, we don't need them for anything, you'd be so much, I think, better off with.
No, I
what you're
agree, we don't need
describing.
those big enormous.
But there should be
desks.
room for the board
But
to
there
go
should
and
be-
do some work, and,
Well,
Table
because I
sounds
don't seem
right.
to get it done at home, so.
but
I-
the table should work, right?
Yeah,
So-
table is absolutely fine. I
You
just
need
wanted
it
a
large,
chair
right?
and a table. Yeah, I mean, seriously. So whatever they can do, I'm sure I'll be happy with, you know,
okay,
yeah.
I will move on.
But,
I didn't wanna infringe on particularly what I thought was your space, but, if
On
you're
mine
finding.
soon, it's the people's space, it's not just ours.
Can we
Whatever
have
comes after,
summer
too,
Rick
so-
in there? Is that good enough?
I don't know, and I might
Well,
be
they
in here
wanted us to
soon.
use this building for summer rec, because this room is bigger than a classroom, is
Put them
what they said.
upstairs, they can run around up there.
In the library, is
Yeah.
what they said as well.
The school board, just don't tell me anymore what the school board said. My blood pressure is just, I probably should delete Facebook tonight too before I go home. I don't want to burn bridges on the way out of town. Wow.
Do not enter again.
Anyway,
So that's
know
good,
that.
I mean, you get a plan, and like I said, if you can get rid of those, and you
Yeah.
can scrap metal them, right, I mean, we'll make a fortune. We can buy
Probably,
a
those
table.
old Navy desks, those are old scrap, those are old surplus from the Navy Yard.
Mhm.
I
They're,
mean, so the town got them for free anyway, so not like you're, you know, we certainly got our money's worth out of it too.
Okay, so Miles, do you have anything on or in the desk that you care about?
I will look before we leave tonight, because
We're getting out early enough, we can go,
I,
yeah, we can go.
I
to the
think
thing
that
part.
there's a couple of notes that have, yeah, just
give me a couple of days and I'll come to
virtually
mine.
nothing.
I don't think I have anything tomorrow, maybe I.
All right, so I will set a date to have Highway pick them up when they
Don't do
can.
it tomorrow.
No, and I'll let you know when that is, and
Yeah.
it'll be out there far enough that you can know and plan for that. Excellent, thank you. so much progress, it's very exciting,
Hey, look.
thank you.
All right, review of correspondence, we have a folder tonight, all
I
right.
don't think there's very much.
All right. I have this letter about,
There should be two.
Mark McDonald
Roberts
on
Road.
paving.
Yes, you need to have a permit to
Well, where are they
pave your
paving?
driveway. So remember Paul Conley's house?
Yes.
So there was that house that was built off of that.
Well, I know where it
There
is,
was pavers up, there was Belanger paving maybe?
but I
over
thought
by?
that they got denied putting,
A new driveway.
They can't make a new cut off of Roberts Road, but,
oh,
so they're
so
sharing
gonna
the
pave
driveway
from
with one
their
hundred.
garage down to the other road, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay,
And
so
we're
then-
sure it wasn't included in their other permit when they got their house, it wasn't on there, was it?
I
Check
cannot
that.
imagine it would, I will check that, but
I'll
typically,
sign it, but can you check it
I will
before
check that,
it
typically
goes
they
out
are
to
not.
Mr. and Mrs. McDonald, sorry, come
And I
looking
believe
for me?
we discussed that when he filled out the original building permit, but
I think so too. I remember having this conversation at
yes.
a meeting. So there's that. And
Okay.
wasn't there another letter I needed to sign again, because the address was wrong or something?
Yeah.
Or no, the owner was different or something?
The owner changed,
Okay,
yeah.
we have,
that was in there.
We have purchase order 1641 for Seacoast Printing for a total of $350 to order more Camp Raleigh shirts and Team Camper shirts. You didn't put the quantities, but. do you
It's
know
an
what-
up to amount so that she has a
Oh.
little bit of flexibility
Okay.
while they're
Why don't we
counting the
second
final
that
registrations.
I'll second that.
Okay, so didn't we just do this last week?
This is an addition because people are looking for sizes that we don't have, so
Okay.
based on people.
So we need an
correct?
additional on top of what we did?
Yes, and last week we did staff and Camp Raleigh. And this is teen in Camp
That's
Raleigh?
fine, okay. Okey dokey. Purchase order 1641 has been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right.
Alright, so I have purchase order 1642 for Take Flight Adventures, Cary, Maine, 13 aerial adventure courses and 13 zip line tour adventures. For a total of $650.06, 50% deposit down, 50% on arrival on 6/26. So are you looking for the whole amount?
50% needs to go out ASAP.
Well, the 26 is only days away.
So they would like a check sent out this week.
Do we
And then
second
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
they would like it.
Clarification, sorry.
it? Okay.
So I cut checks on Monday, so I will try to get a check out this week, but it would be better to have purchase orders, this is what, like approved ahead of time, because typically when purchase orders are approved on a Monday night, the bills for those or associated expenses don't get approved until the following week, because they only typically do checks on Monday nights.
9 days.
So, do you have a quote or a bill to go with that? Like,
There are invoices that went to the rec committee today.
Okay, I saw that, all right, so, okay,
So we're approving the 650.06,
Yeah,
half of it will go out one, and then this will be approved, so you can pay the other half one.
Right,
Yeah, the other
right.
one's that's
so
fine.
we're looking for the 50% to go up, get done this week, I guess. Can you still?
Or next
You
Monday.
can do that.
we'll figure it out.
Alright, so,
So purchase order 1642 has been moved and seconded, better than me, I'm not going to the zip lines. Any other discussion?
No.
No? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Atrocious hand.
alright, now, we still have the SHI for the highway computer and monitor.
I'll put that on the agenda next week for under highway, because he wanted to talk to George about that.
Crap, we did, yeah, I knew there was something else I wanted to talk
Yeah,
about.
okay.
So we'll hold on to that then.
Pre-application for clean water state revolving,
That's
well.
done, I'm sorry, that should be removed, you did that already.
okay,
That's all fine.
That's all I
think
have.
That's
That's
it,
it?
yep,
Are we done, this is bills.
that's
Yeah.
bills.
We don't, our red folder, we don't have that tonight? We're good? Just in case.
I'm gonna check it out.
Just in case, I don't want there to be a purchase order of of importance that we missed from the front office. None of the letters aren't in there, so maybe we just have to sign it again. We already authorized it once, it was just the ownership of the property had changed, so we sent a letter to the previous owner.
Nothing in the red folder.
Nothing in the red folder, community input. Yes, Celia?
Celia Leopold, 426 Washington Street. The principal did attend a rec meeting back in back in March and gave us a couple of proposals that he was trying to take to the school board to make a space at the school. And the school board later shut them down when he approached them about it, like building a pavilion that would have been on school grounds. They decided that they didn't have the timeline to go forward with that. And that was an option that he had offered us.
Or the resources, probably.
And some concerns came from other rec committee members at the school board meeting about looking at, like Denise said, at the 5-year plan and whether the school is a viable option
Right.
in the future. So, we are looking at all avenues as part of that committee. The committee did meet last Wednesday night too, Tuesday night, same time as the budget. And there may be last year this board wanted to look at, walking waivers for Camp Raleigh,
Oh,
so
yeah.
6th grade and under, and there may be a family that will come before you again.
They live across the street, right, so it kind of may. oh, no.
This is a different family,
Oh,
and we're going to be reaching out to them this week.
thank you. Anything else from the public? All right, well, we bid you adieu. We are going to go into non-public session to deal with welfare. We will come back out of non-public session to take action on that one bill that we received, and then we will go home. You're more than welcome to stay and come back when we're finished. And we're dealing
The
with
recreation scholarships.
recreation assistant, scholarship assistants.
Yes.
Also in non-public session, so there'll be 2.
Yes.
Okay, so I need a motion to go into non-public. We'll do welfare first.
I'll make a motion to go in non-public for welfare.
Second that?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and we need a roll call. Denise?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Mike, yes, we were in non-public session to hear welfare petitions. And thank you all for coming.
Somebody email to Troy. Send an email to Troy and see if he has anything available for those 2 weeks.
So, there's one of them is still.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't moved my phone.
And I'm wondering,
Wait a minute. Now, would you turn that thing off?
yeah, I won't.
So these things- Sorry, I didn't interrupt you. I'm waiting to make my comment.